most dramatic courtroom moments of all time. Today, we're counting down the most unbelievable real-life courtroom moments ever caught on camera. From verdicts that left the entire country speechless to shocking outbursts of violence you have to see to believe. The defendant who refused to be silent, Darrell Brooks. The trial of Darrell Brooks is a wild case study in how to bring a courtroom to a grinding halt. In 2021, Brooks drove his SUV through a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing 6 people and injuring dozens more. When his trial started, he made a decision that would define the entire proceeding. He chose to represent himself. What followed wasn't a defense. It was a full-blown campaign of chaos. From day one, Brooks's behavior was bizarre. He claimed he was a sovereign citizen and refused to even acknowledge his own name. He constantly interrupted the judge, bickered with the prosecutors, and tried to speak over witnesses. His outburst got so bad that he was removed from the main courtroom and forced to participate from another room on dozens of occasions. At times, he'd take his shirt off, make threatening gestures, or bang his fists on the table, often pushing the judge to admit that she was intimidated. Even during the victim impact statements, a time meant for grieving families to finally speak, Brooks wouldn't stop his interruptions. His trial became a grim spectacle of one man's defiance against the system and the horrific crimes he committed. In the end, his bizarre tactics did nothing for him. The jury found him guilty on all 76 charges, and the judge sentenced him to 6 consecutive life sentences plus hundreds more years on top of that. The father of Larry Nassar's victims. Some courtroom moments aren't about legal tactics or shocking verdicts. They're about pure, raw human emotion. And that was never clearer than during the sentencing of Larry Nassar, the former USA gymnastics doctor who abused hundreds of young athletes. The hearing was a marathon of heartbreaking stories as girl after girl confronted the man who had betrayed them. On one of those days, Randall Margraves, the father of 3 of Nassar's victims, took the stand. After listening to his own daughters give their testimony, his composure just shattered. He turned to the judge and made an impossible request. "I would ask you," he said, his voice choked with pain, "to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon." When the judge gently told him that's not how the justice system works, Margraves begged for just 1 minute. Denied again, the dam finally broke. With a guttural scream, he lunged across the courtroom right at Nassar. Court officers instantly tackled him, stopping him just feet from the man who had ruined his family's peace. "I want that son of a bitch," he yelled while being held down. Later, after collecting himself, Margraves apologized to the court, simply explaining that he lost control. In an incredible display of empathy, the judge refused to press charges, recognizing the unimaginable pain that fueled his actions. Defendant attacks his own lawyer. A defense attorney is supposed to be a defendant's #1 ally, the one person fighting for them in the system. But what happens when the defendant sees that lawyer as the personification of their lost freedom? In 2019, David Chiselton provided a shocking answer. Chiselton was in a Cleveland courtroom to be sentenced for a string of terrifying crimes, including setting an apartment building on fire with his girlfriend inside. He'd already pleaded guilty to nearly 24 charges. The judge handed down the sentence, 47 years in prison. As that number hung in the air, Chiselton's attorney, Aaron Brockler, turned to talk to his client. He was about to say, "I'll come and see you privately to discuss what your options are." He never got the chance. Before Brockler could finish, Chiselton, who was handcuffed in the front, spun around and landed a brutal sucker punch on the side of his lawyer's head. Brockler collapsed, suffering a broken nose and a concussion. The courtroom erupted as deputies piled on top of Chiselton to subdue him. Brockler later said the attack came out of nowhere and questioned why his client wasn't cuffed from behind, as is standard practice. Which of these moments shocked you the most? Are there any other infamous courtroom blow-ups you think should have been on this list? Let us know down in the comments.